Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be sharing with y'all my third trimester checklist. So if you didn't know this already, I am 36 weeks pregnant with my fourth child. This will be my third boy. So I've done this many times and I always feel like we're always rushed, and really even with this checklist I will say everybody's different and things happen. And it can be hard to try to get everything done before baby gets here. But I do want to show y'all a checklist that I think works really well. At least it just gives you like a template to kind of go off of what you should have done by your third trimester or right before baby arrives. Obviously, you know, lives get hectic, things happen financially, and we can't get everything done that we want to. But I'm a big list person, so at least if I can see it visually of all the things that I need to have done, I can kind of figure out which ones I can do right at the moment and which ones could kind of wait until baby is already here. For example, our master bedroom is still not done, and it's technically going to be the master/nursery. But since baby's pretty much going to be either co-sleeping or sleeping right next to the bed, I don't need to have, you know, like a crib and just all these other things in there right this minute. It can wait until baby's here for, you know, the first month or so. I can get everything in by then and it'll be fine. So that's the kind of thing I'm talking about. Before we get started though, I definitely want to say I hope you guys enjoy this video. Don't forget to give it a big thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe if you're new. I would love to have you here in my little Soul Tribe family. And let's get started with this third trimester checklist. So the first thing you want to have done is your registration at the hospital. You want to be registered at the hospital. Your OBG is going to give you a piece of paper, and it's either going to have like a phone number to the hospital or a website. And usually what I've done is I go on their website, I pre-register on there, and then you still have to go into the hospital to sign paperwork. Now they want you to have this paperwork signed before your 37th week of pregnancy, because just in case you were to go into early labor, early delivery, obviously you want to have all of that done so that when you're getting there, they're not having to scramble and ask you to sign all this paperwork while you're sitting there in pain or trying to have a baby. You want to get it done as soon as possible. I will say though, I'm the worst at this, even though I've had 3 kids already. My third pregnancy and this pregnancy, I waited way too long. I did the registration online super quick, but I kept forgetting to go to the hospital and finish the registration and sign the paperwork. And I almost didn't make it my last pregnancy. So this time around, I had an alarm on my phone. I made sure I always had it on my list. Anytime I would go see my doctor is right next to the hospital. And so I was like, okay, after my appointment, I need to just head on over to the hospital, make sure I signed paperwork. Twice I got out of my appointment, drove straight home, totally forgot. The third time's a charm. Third time around, I finally was able to get myself in the hospital and get it done. And it's pretty quick, especially if you've already pre-registered. They just ask you for your insurance card, your ID. They go over everything with you. They have you sign all the things. And make sure the information is correct. And a lot of it has to do with like your baby's birth certificate, social security card. Okay, the next one I'm going to say is have a baby shower. Some people will have their baby showers when they're in their second trimester, which I think is great. I have always had mine in the third trimester, almost like 3 weeks before I even have the baby. I don't know why. I guess that's just my preference. By the time you start your third trimester, that one is already planned and invites have already been sent out. Even if you do something online, because I know with COVID and everything, a lot of people aren't trying to have a party, which is fine. Just make sure that your registry is linked on any invites, anything on social media. It's always linked for them. I would even put in there and let people know like your top 3 things that you really, really need for this baby. For me, for example, I'm already having my fourth. I don't need a whole lot of things like you would for your first baby. So there are certain things, either like for example, the breast pump that I want is covered under insurance, but barely. So there's a lot left over to pay for this breast pump. and I have used all the other ones and they're great, but I really want to have this one. So I wrote that in there. You know, one of my top 3 items was this breast pump. If people would be willing to chip in on it, that would help me out. And then obviously like diapers for us, and food cards, gift cards, or like a food train. Those 3 things are like our top 3. The rest of the stuff is just stuff that is a newer version of things that we've had before that I want. You definitely want to have your registry sent out soon, and you want to have a baby shower set up so that you're getting all your things in and you're good. Now, once you've had your baby shower and you've received all of the gifts and all the things that people have sent you, then you want to go through and make sure, for one, everything is correct, all the things that you really wanted, the sizes, whatever. And whatever's left over, make sure that you go through and you figure out what things are the things that you need right away. You don't want to just go and just buy everything that's left over on your registry, because you may not need all of those things, at least not for the baby's first like 4 or 5 months of their life. So make sure that you go over that list again, find all the things that you know you're gonna need immediately when baby shows up, and order those first. And then keep like a running list of the things that you still want for baby, but they could wait a couple months. So after baby comes, then you can start ordering those. But just to be prepared, you want to definitely have a really good registry that's almost like a checklist for you. It's not always necessarily just, oh, here's all the things I want other people to buy me. It's literally a checklist for you to keep track of all the things that you know you're going to need for your baby. So obviously as people order them, they get checked off the list. And then as you get the rest of the stuff off there, you check that off. And then it dwindles down to, you know, a couple things that, you know, like let's say it has to do with when baby's 6 months old and eating solid food. You're not going to need that right away. You don't need to spend your money on something that they're not going to use until they're 6 months old. So make sure that you go through that list, get the things that you know you're going to need right away, and make sure, you know, within that 3rd trimester, or maybe right up until baby shows up, that you've had those ordered and they're on their way. The next thing you're going to want to do is set up a 3D ultrasound appointment. Now, your ultrasounds are usually only covered by insurance for 2 of them. And the first one is making sure that you are pregnant. So, you know, when you find out you're pregnant, you go to the OB. The first thing they do, make sure that you're pregnant. But they do an ultrasound to see where you're at in your pregnancy, you know, if there's a heartbeat, all of those things. So that's number 1. And then number 2 is your 20-week, well, 15 to 20-week appointment, where they do the anatomy scan, they do all of that stuff. And the only reason that you would ever have any more than that is because the doctor needs to see something else, or, you know, maybe there's complications or any of those kinds of things. If you have a high-risk pregnancy, you'll probably have more than 2 ultrasounds covered by insurance. But if you're not a high-risk pregnancy like myself, you're only going to get 2. And when you get closer to the end, you really want to be able to see baby. You start thinking, oh, what does he look like, or what does she look like? And instead of having to go through your doctor and pay tons and tons of money, you can go to these other third parties, which most OBs are going to have a list of these third parties that they have worked with before that they think are great. And usually it's around, I would say like $95 to up to like $200 for a visit. And they do like a 30-minute to an hour ultrasound. They give you 3D photos, they give you videos, they have all kinds of packages that you can do. But that way you and your hubby, or maybe it's your family wants to see the baby, they can all go with you and you can see baby up on the screen. They always have you come within like week 30 to 35, I think, or 34. They say that's the best time to go because baby obviously has fat on their body by then. They're gonna look more like they're gonna look when they come out, but not so big to the point that they're like smushed, you know, looking. Their faces are smushed up against a screen. That's pretty much what it looks like if you wait too long. So if you know you're gonna wanna see him or her again, and you want another ultrasound, make sure that you have that planned out because these places can get booked pretty quickly. So you don't want to be past that 34 week. I mean, technically you could still go in after that, but the pictures aren't going to be as good, and the video is not going to be as good. So if you do want that, make sure you find the place you want to get it at, pay the deposit, make sure you're headed over there, you have it on your calendar ready to go. They will give you like a copy of the photos or of the video, and then they have all these other add-ons that you can do that is really cool too. Okay, the next one is going to be setting up maternity photos. Now, you should probably have this already set up before your third trimester. The third trimester is just when you're going to be wanting to take these photos. So hopefully it's already scheduled, especially if you're using a really good photographer. We all know photographers, they get booked pretty quickly. So you don't want to be scrambling trying to find a photographer that can squeeze you in, you know, on a certain day or something like that last minute. But you will want to have your photos, your maternity photos, taken in your third trimester, because your full term, your belly's nice and big and beautiful, you know, the clothing, whatever it is that you're going to go for, the vibe you're going for, the look you're going for, whether it's a nude photo shoot or out in the country, or you're doing an indoor one, or maybe you're doing one with family or with your husband, you want to have that full pregnant beautiful body ready to go. And usually the third trimester is when it looks the best. I will say I love pregnancy. I love it. This is my last one and I'm trying to take in every single moment of it because I love it so much, and I love my pregnant body. And I think pregnant women are beautiful. I think the way that our bodies form and, you know, change and do all of these things, it's beautiful. So obviously the third trimester is when you can really see all of that and capture all of that in a maternity shoot. It's just beautiful. So make sure that you have that set up. And even if you don't have a photographer and you can't pay for that, if you have a friend that's really, really good at taking pictures on their iPhone or something, just tell them, hey, I want to do this. Will you come with me out into this field, or will you come to my house and just shoot a couple pics real quick? I mean, y'all, I have had my son do. My son takes a lot of my pictures for my Instagram, which, by the way, if you're not following me on there, definitely go follow me on Instagram. I share a lot of pregnancy and motherhood and a lot of fashion over there anytime that I wear clothing, which is all the time, y'all. Was dumb. Any outfits that I wear, any outfits I put on my kids, I definitely share over there. I like to dress up sometimes, but I'm definitely more of that like casual look. So if you're into that, then you'll definitely get a lot of ideas from that, I guess. But my son actually takes majority of my photos that are on my Instagram, and he is the best, y'all. So I've had him take belly shots before. You know, little things I'm like, oh, I really want to take a picture real quick. Will you take a picture? You know, and he'll take a picture if I'm holding a letterboard or something like that. So always ask your friends and family or even your kiddos to see if they can help you out in that area, because you want to remember this. You don't want to regret not having enough pictures. Next thing that has to go with a photo shoot is a newborn photo shoot. Not everybody does them. I didn't do them for a couple of my kids. One of them I did a photo shoot, but I did it myself. For my daughter, I did my own little newborn photo shoot at home. But this time around, I really want to have professional ones done since this is our last baby. So if you do want to have that done, make sure that that is already set up. Now, obviously you can't predict the date that you're going to have this baby and when they can do it. But most of these newborn photographers know how to figure that out, you know, how to put you on the schedule and say, okay, well, you know, if you do end up giving birth early, I can kind of move you here and there. So definitely make sure though that, you know, your deposit is paid or it's on the calendar for the photographer and for yourself, and that everything is ready to go. So make sure that that is done within the third trimester. Now, I do work from home. I do not go to an office job, and I am technically self-employed. So this doesn't really apply to me, but if you have a job and you know you have to have maternity leave, make sure that everything is ready to go for that as well. That you know exactly how much time you're getting, you know what you're getting paid, you know, just all the details are wrangled and done. And then also for your husband, there are some companies that will give parental leave to the hubbies to help at home, which I think every single company should do this, so that they don't have to use their vacation time for a newborn baby and helping the mother, and not even just helping the mother, but being there with their newborn child. One of my husband's companies that he worked for, they're based overseas, so I guess that's why they did it, but they gave him like 2 weeks parental leave, which was awesome. So it was paid leave, but he was able to stay home with us for 2 weeks and help out with baby. and get his time in with baby. So I thought that was awesome. So if your husband's job does that as well, make sure that all of that is already set up. They know around what time, you know, of the month or dates that you might be going into labor or that baby is due. You know exactly the time frame that they're going to get off, and the amount that they're getting paid. All of that stuff needs to be ready to go, settled and good, so that you're not stressing out about it when you have a newborn, because the last thing you want to think about is all of that stuff. You're going to be exhausted. All you want to do is eat, sleep, and then breastfeed this baby and hang out with it. So make sure that that is all done. Okay, so the next thing is probably the most fun part, which is getting your hospital bag ready. It can be a little daunting, a little overwhelming. It's definitely not as overwhelming as getting a baby registry ready and getting all of that done. But you still have to make sure that you have all these things. Again, I'm a list person. I totally recommend having a checklist for yourself, a checklist for daddy, and a checklist for baby. Now the checklist for baby is probably gonna have about 4 or 5 things on it, like barely anything, because the hospital provides a lot for the baby. But for you as mama, you are gonna need a lot of things. And you wanna make sure when you get there to the hospital and you have all your bags with you and your hubby brings all that stuff back up to the room, that you don't go, oh my gosh, I forgot, da 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 da. Because especially with COVID, they're not gonna allow him to leave, go home, grab everything, and come back. My hospital, when I went and got registered to sign the paperwork, she did tell me, she said they will give him one chance to go down to the car, grab everything, and come back up to the room, and that's it. After that, he cannot leave, and if he does, he cannot come back in for the full duration that I'm there. Make sure that you have this checklist and that you get everything done. I have not gotten mine ready yet. I will soon, hopefully. I'm so busy, y'all. But when I do, I will be sharing a hospital bag checklist video on here for you guys on my channel, so keep a lookout for that. I will show y'all everything that I put in there, where I got it from, and I will also have a checklist for you to download, so that you, like a printable that you can download and use for yourself and make sure that you have everything that you need. So obviously hospital bag, you're gonna need that. Now the next thing I would do, and this is optional, you do not have to do this, is shop for nurses' baskets. Now nurses' baskets it's just something that you bring in. You bring in a little basket with like some snacks in there, some healthy ones, some munchies, some drinks, anything like that that you think the nurses would want. And you have one for daytime nurses and one for nighttime nurses. So when you come in and you're bringing your hospital bag in, you also bring those in and you leave them at the nurses' desks in the maternity ward. It's really just a thank you to them. I mean, they're here to help you have the best labor and delivery ever, and then afterwards they're there to help you with baby and with yourself. And I mean, girl, these nurses are gonna become your besties, okay? They are gonna see parts of you that probably half your friends have never seen, and they're the sweetest people, and they care so much. They love and they care and they work really hard, and they're there for your every beck and call. I mean, you could literally call your nurse to come in every other second and she would, and with a smile on her face. So I just think it's a great thing to do. Again, you don't have to do this, and you could do a different variation. Let's say you don't want to do a basket for all of the nurses, that you only want to do, you know, specific ones for your nurse. That would be great too, but just make sure that you've shopped around, you kind of got an idea of what you want, and either put the basket together ready to go, unless it's super early on in your 3rd trimester, then obviously if there's food in there, it's probably going to get eaten by yourself or your husband before you even get to the hospital. But if it's later on in your pregnancy and you're getting closer to that due date, definitely go out and shop for those things and put it in a basket and have it ready to go for the nurses. Now this next one I really love, and I will also have a video on this as well. I just don't know if I'm gonna have this one up after baby comes or before. We'll just have to see. But it is a breastfeeding basket. You want to get a breastfeeding basket put together and have it ready next to your bed, so that when you come home and you're in those first few weeks of breastfeeding all night long and trying to just stay awake and keep baby happy and healthy, you are gonna need this because you're not gonna wanna be getting up. Everything down there is gonna hurt. You're definitely not gonna wanna be standing up and walking and doing this and doing that. So the best thing you can do is have a breastfeeding basket next to the bed. It's gonna consist of like waters, Gatorades, snacks, lots of snacks. You're gonna need that because you're gonna be hungry all the time. Breast pumps, breast pads, nipple cream, all of those things. And then on top of that, I always add this. This is obviously not part of the breastfeeding basket, but I would also have either a basket or like a tray or something that you're gonna be putting next to the bed that has babies, extra clothes in it, beanies, socks, diapers, wipes, all of that stuff, so that again, it's all right next to your bed on your side of the bed. You don't have to do anything but lean over and grab it. You don't have to get up and walk across the room to pick something up or have to call your husband every 5 seconds because you need, you know, the wipes or the diapers or whatever. So again, I will have a video on this. It'll be a checklist because like I said, I'm a list person. I will have a printable checklist for you guys for what you need in your breastfeeding basket and also what you need next to the bed for newborn baby. So what I'm actually gonna do is have like a 3-tiered rolling tray. You can find them at like IKEA, Target, Walmart, and that is where I'm gonna keep everything. And since it's on wheels, I can just like push it in and out of that side of the bed, you know? Push it up against the wall, bring it back in, and be able to pull out what I need and then push it back away if I need to have that room. So I will have that for y'all, but I definitely recommend, obviously starting now, have your list, make sure that you're checking off all of those things, putting everything together so that when you come home with baby, you don't have to do it then. It's already gonna be ready to go. Now this kind of goes with what I just said, and it would be to set up baby's room. Now, when I mean baby's room, I don't mean the nursery, because you're not gonna be putting your baby in the nursery for the first like month at least, and at the most, you know, maybe 3, 4, or 5 months, depending on if you want baby to sleep in your room for longer than that. So the nursery, everybody wants to have it done, and I think it's great, and it's so fun, but you're really not gonna use anything in there for a while because you're gonna need baby next to you 24/7. So when I mean get baby's room together, I mean your room ready for baby. So again, this kind of goes with having that, you know, tray next to the bed with all the baby stuff. But let's say you need the changing pad in your room, you need a swing or a bassinet or a crib. Maybe you're going to move the crib into your room. Whatever it is, all of those things you should have already in your room ready to go, again, so that you're not having to do them when baby gets here. If you know that baby is going to be in your room next to your bed, you know the kind of like sleep arrangement that you're going to want to do, just make sure you have everything ready to go. I always say before your 37th week of pregnancy, because again, I'm a perfect example of this. All of my babies so far have come 37.5 to 38 weeks pregnant. And all these people are like, well, I have like 4 weeks. You could, or you could not. So you just want to be prepared. Now this is going to go into the nesting stage. We all go through it. We all have it. A lot of times the second trimester, when you have more energy, is when you really want to get this stuff done. But in the third trimester, your mind is like, okay, I need to get this done. I need to get that done. So I would say the nesting stage continues into the third trimester, even though you may be even more out of breath and exhausted. And just so big that it's hard to do a lot of these things, which is fine. You can get some help from hubby or from Grammy or friends, whatever. But I would definitely recommend that if there's anywhere in your house that you want to have organized before baby comes here, and I mean small things like your pantry or your closet, the bathroom cabinet, do those now, because you are not going to have time to do them for at least the first 6 months of baby's life. So if you know that you want those done and that they would make your life easier when baby comes, do those now, okay? Now, number 2 to that is clean the house. If you keep a spick and span home, that is awesome. So this is probably irrelevant for you. I already have children. My house will never stay clean. So I have to clean it all the time. And obviously I don't know exactly when baby's gonna be here, so I can't know, okay, well on this day I need to make sure these rooms are cleaned. before baby gets here. If you have friends and family, a lot of times, like for myself, while I was in the hospital, my friends or my family came to my home and cleaned my home before I came home with baby, just to make sure everything was put away and tidy, which I'm so grateful for. It's just like it's the best thing ever. But I would also recommend hiring a maid service. And I don't have a maid service that comes to my house on the regular. So it's not like it's something that we do all the time. And that may be for you too. You're like, I can't afford that, or I don't want to pay for that. And that's fine if you want to do it yourself, or if you can get some extra help from some friends and family. But when you're in that third trimester, you do not want to clean your whole house, okay? And if you know, maybe it's one thing to tidy your house, but to actually clean it, like clean the bathrooms or clean the baseboards or the fans, whatever it could be. If you know you want those things to be cleaned, I totally recommend a cleaning service. You have them come one time, you pay a nice big sum, what is it, like, I don't know, $130 to like $160, which is a lot of money. But if they've never come to your house before and they don't know what they're walking into, they always charge you more. I don't know, but anyways, to me, it's totally worth it, especially if they do a great job and they really, really clean all the places that you've been telling them that you need cleaned. All the little crevices, all the little things that you would not normally clean, just to make sure that everything is dust-free, allergen-free, just nice and clean. And then after that, you can kind of just keep it tidy until baby shows up. So I really do recommend that. I promise you it will take a load off of you knowing that the house got cleaned so well. And for one, your body didn't have to go through that. And just that peace of mind of knowing you're bringing your baby home to a clean house, clean air, all of those kinds of things. All right, y'all, that concludes my third trimester checklist. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I hope that you either learned something or you wrote these down. I will have them down below. I don't have like a printable checklist for you guys, but I will just kind of leave them down there the way that I spoke about these, so that if you do need to like revert back, that you can go down into the description box below and just maybe you need to jot them down or take a screenshot of it. That's great. But I do hope you guys loved this video, and I hope that it gave you some kind of relief knowing now, okay, these are the things that I need to have done. I know for myself, off the top of your head, it can just seem overwhelming, and it just seems like I'm never going to be ready, I'm never going to be prepared. And like I said, for myself, this being my last one, I want to make sure that most of my energy and my thoughts are going to remembering this and these moments, and not letting the days just fly by me and not taking them in, and I'm going to regret it. So I don't want you to regret it. I don't want you to regret the ending of your pregnancy. You should be enjoying it, taking all the photos, doing all the things. At least if you can get all this stuff done off your checklist, then you have the rest of the pregnancy to enjoy. Just remember, this time goes by so fast. And not only does pregnancy go by fast, but then the newborn stage goes by fast. So take in as much as you can. I know that some days can be hard. I know that some days your body's hurting. You just feel so big and you can't breathe and you're just ready to have this baby. But I promise you, it just goes by so quickly. And as quickly as it goes by, you also forget how you felt in that moment. And I feel like I say it so much, but now that I'm at the end of my rope and the end of my journey of pregnancies and all of that, it's like really hitting me, y'all, and it's just so surreal. It's just so weird knowing that I will never go through this again. So I want to take in every moment, and I just want to remind all my Soul Tribe mamas out there, just make sure that you take the time, write in a journal, take the pictures, do videos, whatever it is that you love doing. Just keep all of these memories close to you, and I promise you're gonna do a great job. You're gonna be a great mom. Oh, I feel like I'm gonna cry now. Okay. Anyways, if you liked it, make sure you give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe if you're new, and I will see y'all on my next video. Bye.